Today I would like to talk about startup capital and artists. Good afternoon, welcome back to my channel. So I was doing research for this week's topic is how to make money as an artist, like to start your art business. And I saw this snippet from simple.com and their advice is very funny. The first step to make money is to not spend money. And the rent is a big expense. Established artists make a constant living, but for new artists, it's hard to guarantee how much you will earn. If you don't earn enough 1 month and you have expensive bills to cover, you could end up in debt. I think this statement or this advice is very valid. Yes, it's talking about two things. First is the cash flow. You need to make sure you're constantly earning money in order to establish a consistent cash flow to sustain your business. Yes. And the second thing it's talking about is the recurring expenses or recurring bills, such as rent or some other kind of maintenance costs that you have to pay every month or every certain time. And once you stop paying, you lose the right to enjoy this product or service, and that will, let's say, hinder the operation of your business. I think the advice is generally very valid, but it doesn't answer the actual question. It's assuming that you have the money to spend and you just have to spend it slowly in order to last longer and build your career as an artist meanwhile. But a lot of artists don't have this money to start with because not everyone is from families of Paris Hilton, right? We have working class families, and when we go to art school, our parents already spend a lot to sustain our perhaps living expenses, and we have a loan from the bank as a student, and when you graduate, you are graduating in debt already, and you have to pay back and you have to work on odd jobs, and you don't have the money to invest in your art career from the very start. A lot of people face such financial pressure, and we're not alone in this. And it's just very difficult to gather this startup capital in order to embark on a full-time art career. So what exactly is this startup capital? Startup capital in the startup world or in the business world refers to the money that is absolutely needed in order to build your business and kickstart your business. For example, buy equipment, rent. In terms of artists, is to rent a studio because you can't paint at home. There's occupational health hazard, and you can't paint perhaps outdoors either. Sometimes it's very cold or very hot. So you have to rent a studio space for that. Even the shared studio in the city and can be very expensive depending where you live. And also art supplies. You can't always grab a pen and paper. Sometimes you have to buy expensive paints and canvas and frames and easels. Just plenty of things you can spend, and today you can't embark on an art career without a website. You have to spend on websites, social media, other kind of digital marketing tools. So you have to have, anything from 10,000 to 20,000 in order to just start to cover the basic costs of the first year, and that's your startup capital. And sometimes they also call it the seed fund, like the little seed to grow a tree for the future. So this little seed is the essential thing to kickstart everything. Usually in the business world, startup entrepreneurs get this seed fund from two different channels. The first channel is a bank, and you just have to present to the banker business plan and your history, your personal credit history, and sometimes you have to register as a company. You go there, you talk to the banker, and they give you a loan. The problem is those kind of loans for a startup company are incredibly high in the interest rates, and you have to pay back 10%, 12% easily every year. And that's enormous compared to, let's say, a mortgage or a loan to buy a car or student loan. Student loans are usually at top 7%, and usually it's not more than that. So borrowing money from the bank is not usually ideal because a lot of times they give you an incredibly high interest rate, and you are in debt in the end of the startup venture. So usually people try to get the funding from venture capitalists or from angel investors, basically in general investors. They are either individuals or companies who invest money in startup companies in order to get something back. They're not charity. So when they invest, a lot of times they get 50% shares, 51%, 60%, and you are selling out your company, and once they have more than 50% of equity, they can have a say, well, they have more say than you in your direction of your future company or future art career. Imagine if you're an artist and you need 20,000 to start your art career, and I say, look, I give you 15,000, but I tell you where to paint, what to paint, when to paint, and go ahead. Would you agree? I think 100% no, because you want the freedom not only as an artist but as a business person to steer the direction of the steering wheel. As an artist, it's either very difficult or almost impossible to get investors or get a loan from a bank. So you are left with a few options that are borrowing money from 3Fs. They are family, friends, and fools. Those people who are close to you, who want to help you genuinely, and usually you just have to pay back the money without interests, and it's a very good option. If you don't have very rich relatives or friends, then you are left with just one option. That is bootstrapping, that is earning money and saving up in a piggy bank for your art career. In order to bootstrap, you need to have a rather lucrative job that allows you to save up, or you have to work on different jobs, perhaps 2-3 jobs at the same time in order to gather enough money in 2 to 5 years' time in order to one day have enough to say, okay, I have the first year covered, I'm going to switch and take the jump to become a full-time artist. Very well, do that. You have to plan ahead with a business plan. You need to have an idea how long you need to save for, how much you need to save for in order to start to cover the first year of your art career. For example, rent, food, studio rent, art supplies, and you need to write everything down and make a plan. And make sure you have a solid plan before taking the jump to a full-time art career, instead of a rush of blood to the head and say, oh, I want to become an artist tomorrow. This won't work. As an entrepreneur, as an artist, as a business professional, it won't work. So you need to have a plan. So this week I want to talk about how to make a business plan, what kind of money you need to take the jump, and what is the process of switching to your art career and start earning money ASAP. So stay tuned. If you like this video, make sure you click like and leave me a comment below, and see you in the next video.